I told y'all 2 years ago I am the man with the gun, and I have been. It's time though, and I knew this time would come. It's time that someone rise, and I'll say it all. GAW hasn't seen the true underground yet.
Start of the Wrestling World Cup. I cannot wait. It is going to be the biggest party in the history of this sport. Yes, I'm saying it right now. There is nothing like World Cup season. And we'll get a breakdown of the squads involved in the World Cup coming up a little bit later, as well as an Apex title match. Yes, an Apex title match coming at you tonight. All that and so much more. We begin with the first and former Raw champion, Midnight. A little bit of added fire for Midnight as he comes out. It was a rough go last season for the Mercenary. A loss to Igris with the Apex Championship on the line. Saw Chandler Marcy. He was being actively recruited by the GAW crime family, and I don't know where that stands at the minute. Of course, that was all the recruitment process for Chandler Marcy came before the GAW crime family lost the tag team championships to Island Nation, who are still doing their Champions Tour in their hometowns and the cities they grew up in. They are inspirations to so many young, up-and-coming wrestlers and potential wrestlers from their native countries. So Chandler Marcy, I don't know if GAW crime family is around. I don't know what their plan as far as Chandler Marcy is concerned. But regardless of that, Marcy can put himself in the best possible situation by getting a win here over Midnight. When you talk about what Midnight has done in his career, what he's done just in GAW alone, beating Midnight under any circumstances, doing absolutely anything, is a statement win. Here we go. Opening match, Chandler Marcy, Midnight, and Midnight taking him down instantly. And that's what Midnight does. Obviously, during his run as the Raw champion, he was unbeatable until he came up against Santonico. It was a battle of the undefeateds when Midnight fought the man who would become the Raw champ. Now, Marcy, great takedown into the crossface. You see Midnight, he's always had that scar around the eyes, but now an extra one by his lip. That was given to him by Igris, the Apex champion. Midnight has been absolutely phenomenal. 25-5, his career record in GAW. However, a 2-4 record last year. Much different from his 23-1 in season 2. We didn't have an official vote on Wrestler of the Year back in season 2. If we had, I believe Midnight may very well have been it. Now Marcy, look at the strength as he got Midnight up into that carry position, but Midnight, the experience coming out to play, tosses Marcy up, huge right hook. I believe the key here for Marcy is going to have to be neutralizing Midnight's versatility. When it comes to Midnight's offensive variance, According to our stats experts, Midnight had the most different offensive moves last season in Evolution, narrowly edging out Igris in that particular category. Now Marcy going around, Midnight trying to surprise him. Marcy sends him right into the ring post. Chandler Marcy, that's one way to do it. That's one way to neutralize the versatility, but you gotta jump on Midnight quicker than that. Now, Marcy does exactly that. Suplex off the toss. You cannot pin down Midnight's game. We saw evidence of that all last season. Now, Midnight back into the ring. He's going straight after Marcy. Yankee Destroyer from Midnight. And that's exactly what I mean. He'll hit you from anywhere with anything. Midnight into the cover, off to the Destroyer. Marcy out at 2. Midnight also had the third most different offensive maneuvers that led to pinfalls last season. And here's the classic one, Sleepwalker. No, Marcy came down to the other side and goes straight for the knee. That would have been it. Still no one has kicked out of the Sleepwalker. So although Midnight had the third most different offensive moves that led to a win, the Sleepwalker, always the classic for the former Raw champion. There's a big one. Big time knee to the temple from Midnight. And we're seeing a renewed focus around Evolution on move variants. Nice job by Marcy. Caught Midnight coming in for the single leg. Just that quick knee, using the knee pad to his advantage, and Marcy now has the advantage over Midnight. Big time power bomb from Chandler Marcy, and it'll be the first cover of the match, only a 1. That is what you're dealing with when you talk about Midnight. Marcy gonna go for it again. Middle of the ring, a second time. High velocity power bomb from Chandler Marcy. Midnight making his way to his feet. Marcy is slowing down the pace here. I like this strategy a lot from the young man, especially because Midnight has so much experience. We know what he's done, and you can see how slow Marcy is going. When you look at Midnight's 5 losses in each of them, Midnight has been ground down in terms of the pace. Santanico was able to slow the pace down. Igris was able to slow the pace down. Now, Chandler Marcy with the Marcy bomb! Marcy into the high stack cover. No! Oh my goodness. Feet over the shoulders, Marcy bomb, and now Chandler Marcy going straight after. He's feeling the momentum right now, is Marcy. And now the young man, splash attempt. Midnight got the knees out. Midnight absolutely levels it with that King Kong lariat. Now it's a cover from Midnight, and he survives just like that. And that's exactly what I mean. The Sleepwalker is a classic, but it is far from the only thing that Midnight is capable of. The King Kong lariat, just one of the many bullets in his chamber. Chandler Marcy, you've got to be encouraged. That was as good of a performance as I have ever seen from the young man, and Marcy's 5-17 career record in GAW will get just a little bit worse, but that is as encouraging of a sign as I have seen from Chandler Marcy, the former football standout. Jason, look, man, I hate to bother you, but you saw what happened last week, and there's no way that I can keep going without at least talking to you about this. You can't let Igris continue to do this to the Apex Championship. That's the top of our sport, and he just continues to disrespect it. I'm not saying that I would have beaten him if he hadn't attacked me before the match, but I at least feel like I deserve the opportunity to try. Max, you'll preach into the choir. And normally I wouldn't do something like this, but you are absolutely right. You deserve the opportunity to try. You had every opportunity to win that title at Nitro. You came up just short. And while normally I would say that you have to re-qualify. In this particular instance, because of what Igris did, because of what ROTY did, I'm giving you the opportunity. Queen Alexia is about as good a wrestler as there is in the world today. She could be competing for any title she wants. She could be showing up on Storm. She could be a part of that Barnstorm thing and win the US title. Unfortunately for her, she has decided to go for the one title she can never win. Yamamoto, unfortunately for Alexia, is at the absolute top of her game, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. You can't beat her on the feet, you can't out-wrestle her, you can't submit her, you can't be faster or hit harder or be smarter. Frankly, you're lucky to be in the ring with her, I'm sorry to say, and we're just getting started. Casey Catanzaro is getting older. She'll lose that title at some point and age out like everyone else. Moto isn't even at her prime yet. It's a cliche, but this time it's true. It's only the beginning for Yamamoto.
I'm a shadow of the man I was before. I'm a dead man walking before I die. I'll take every soul I can into the night and kill till I die.
As the Rookie of the Year tournament was progressing, stories continued to come up. You had the redemption of Ryan Skinner, you had the domination of Takahashi, you had the evil of Frankie Omega Jr., you had the battle near the bottom of the table with Chris Alexa and Marlon Wright. You had all of that, and yet somehow, and of course you had the game's top prospect on paper, Adonis Carter, and yet somehow, through all that, Dash Foley went nearly unnoticed. That is until Dash Foley showed up at Nitro and cost the House of Black the Tag Team Championships, which makes Foley one of the most wanted men in general admission wrestling, and not for the right reasons. So, what his issue was with the House of Black, I don't know. What his allegiance may be to the Good Brothers, I don't know. But we know that Aleister Black is out for blood, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made the journey to Evolution here today. Aleister Black does not take kindly to having titles robbed from him or the House of Black, and that's exactly what Dash Foley helped to do back at Nitro. So even though Foley may have slid under the radar when it comes to our phenomenal Rookie of the Year field, he is by no means under the radar now, and you can see the change in Foley, the confidence, where he may have been reserved before, keeping to himself. It's a different Dash Foley that we're seeing out here now.
I got a bottle of Patron and some lights off, 2 red devil looking eyeballs, and I finna turn up when the night falls. If you hear a siren, then it's my fault. Jump in my whip, baby, let's ride. We ain't gonna stop at a red light, and I'ma take shots.
I'm sure Raymond Church would love to think that there's a party atmosphere going on out here when he makes his entrance, but unfortunately not everyone has caught on to the party. I gotta say, it's high energy though, and I kind of like it. I like it from Raymond Church. Just, you know, I'm just that kind of guy. Not that I'm a big partier myself, but, you know, I like the energy that Church brings. This is another guy who maybe didn't turn the heads during the Rookie of the Year tournament that he had wanted to, but you just see now what's going on with him and Foley, 2 guys who did not earn contracts via the Rookie of the Year contract award, and yet here they are on Evolution, single match contracts for both men as of now. But let's see if that changes at some point. Here we go. Dash Foley, Raymond Church, 2 second-year men, rookies last year. And of course, the Rookie of the Year, Takahashi, had the Raw Championship stolen from him back at New Season, New Challenge. He won it from Omega Woods in a massive upset at Nitro. Takahashi, truly the Rookie of the Year, and he lived up to that moniker. But Lars Nightfall now the new Raw Champion. Double foot stomp attempt from Foley, countered by Church, who takes him down with the right, but Foley straight back to his feet, and he goes out with straight right. Combination from Dash Foley, now grounds Church. Grounded top wrist lock, Church having to fight out of it. Nice job there from Raymond, and you're already seeing, first of all, both of these men have gotten a little bit bigger. They've toned up, they've hit the gym. That's exactly what we were expecting to happen. With the top rookies coming in, there's a reason why the 12 men that made Rookie of the Year were there. Church reaches out, there's the awareness from Raymond Church. Those were the 12 best prospects in the world, and you're seeing exactly why at this point. Takahashi, the best of them, and has already established himself as maybe one of the best in the world. Dash Foley, Raymond Church, not so far behind. Foley gonna take to the skies. Diving headbutt, I think, to the chest as Raymond Church was trying to stand. And who knows how much work Foley's been doing, possibly with the Good Brothers as well. Certainly seeing a little bit of Carl Anderson influence here, just to the way he moves and the way he's approaching his attack pattern in this match. Big time right, turns Church around, and now Foley goes low into the body. Great strike rate here from Dash Foley. Not something he was necessarily known for during the Rookie of the Year tournament. Of course, when it came to the striking, it was all about Takahashi, Leon Redgrave. That's who we so often talked about. But Dash Foley, again, just sort of under the radar. And now Foley, yeah, that's some Carl Anderson in him right there. I'm not saying that he's necessarily aligned with the Good Brothers, but wouldn't shock me in the least if he were. Foley maybe looking for that 6-shooter, but Church. Great job by Church. Came down on the other side, much like we just saw Chandler Marcy do the Midnight Sleepwalker, and now Church using his speed and power. Grounds Foley. Church lines him up. Big time knee, and Church flung himself over the top rope. Just trying to hit that knee strike, and that might have hurt him because it delays him making that cover, and an emphatic kick out by Dash Foley, but Raymond Church is going to try to push the pace here. And we know what Church can do. It's things like that, big time thrust kick, but obviously the fans not loving what Raymond Church is throwing down with right now against Foley. Church out of the corner, taking the back. Foley gets the elbow up, and while Foley is certainly not popular by any means, Foley with the butterfly DDT. He's at least more popular than Raymond Church, I can say that. Dash Foley. Big time DDT. I've never seen him do that, by the way. That must be something he picked up in the GAW Academy, working in the post-Rookie of the Year training that all of these men have done. Fans are just happy to see Raymond Church lose, but make no mistake, Dash Foley, not a popular man, and certainly a far less popular man when he gets to storm the man who cost the House of Black their titles at Nitro. Foley could be in some danger long term. Let's take you back out to the World Wrestling Center. We are a week away from the start of the Wrestling World Cup, and our special correspondent, Tazz, the legend, is standing by, and we're waiting for some team rankings. Let's head out to Orlando. I'm here with Bad News Barrett, I think they call him. That's an old reference for an old man. Hey, we could throw down right now if you want to. You're not no spring chicken yourself. You got a point there, big man. I think the World Cup is the biggest thing going in our sport today. Thanks to GAW for putting this together. The reason we're out here in Florida is because we got all hands on deck for the biggest tournament in our sport, and Wade is here to tell us what's gonna go down. I will most certainly do my best. I now present to you the Bad News 8. ranking the 8 teams competing in the Wrestling World Cup. At number 8, unfortunately, it has to be someone, and in this case, it's China. No disrespect to them, wrestling is blowing up in the country, and they do have the ultimate Cinderella on their side, but I have to see it from them first. At number 7, I actually have Canada. It's a lot of talent on paper, but their designated tag team is old like Big Tazz over here, and Captain Kenny Omega hasn't wrestled in over a year. At number 6, I've got Mexico. To be very honest with you, this has everything to do with their matchup with the team I have at number 5. Mexico is small, and as much experience as they have, there are some big lads in this tournament. I mentioned a bad matchup at number 5, and it's Australia. Underrated, yes, but the underhanded tactics of Jay White, athleticism of Robbie Eagles, and pure power of Bronson Reed is going to surprise a lot of people. Number 4, and the first team I think will make the semifinals, is Japan. It's a collection of talent with no real direction, I'll grant you, but it's a phenomenal collection at that. Top 3 begins with the United States. More underground representation than any other team, and a legendary tag team to boot. But I have my questions about Captain Bryan Danielson. I bet you think you know who I have at number 2, but I have some bad news for you. It's the United Kingdom. I love my lads from across the pond. I'll be heading over to work with them when we're done here. But it's a mere collection of talent. It will be up to Mr. Regal to bring them together, which makes my number 1 team in the Wrestling World Cup the terrifying group out of American Samoa. I've criticized several squads for their lack of cohesion. It's the complete opposite for the Islanders. They are a family, and that bodes extremely well for a long, strategic, and grueling tournament like this one. Wow, we've got Analysis Jones over here. Nothing I can add to that. Just remember to check out the Wrestling World Cup starting next week. Mr. Takahashi, may I please trouble you for a word? I know this is not something you'd like to discuss at the moment, but I feel obligated to help you. I've seen too many talented young men unable to bounce back from an early loss, and you have 10 times the talent of any young man I have ever encountered. It would be a crime to not offer my support at a time when you might need some. You see, son, when you walk alone, you fall alone, and it does not matter how talented you are, you will always be at the mercy of men more savage and more immoral than yourself. A tragic set of circumstances indeed. But it means your particular recourse cannot be and will never be individual strength unless you are willing to sacrifice your very humanity for it. No, my young friend, your long-term recourse is protection from people around you. I can deliver this to you. I can make you a part of this. I do believe you need us, my friend. Not because you can't do this alone, but because you don't want to.
I gotta slow up, gotta take this high. Gotta take a minute just to ease my mind. 'Cause if I don't walk, then I get caught out, and I'll be falling all the way down. Turn my head and shut my eyes. Doesn't even matter if I'm wrong or right. 'Cause if I don't...
Yes, it is that time already. Main event o'clock. And it's the ultimate Cinderella, Lee Carr. I think Jason Parker mildly perturbed, to say the very least, by what happened to Max Ultimate, what Igris and Dagonite did last week at New Season, New Challenge, making a mockery of, first of all, what Eddie Hernandez was trying to do 2 years ago when he instituted an open contract, and then making a mockery of the concept of New Season, New Challenge. And this is the punishment he gets. He's got to defend here against Lee Carr.
It's been 6 days since I've had my fix, and now I'm fixed on you.
Despite your trembling body, I can tell you want it too. I'm every man you've ever dreamed of, all your fantasies combined. You can tell I'm the best for the blood on your dress, but nobody as good as mine.
Is it any surprise that Dagonite is coming out with Igris as just that extra little bit of security? Of course it's not. This is exactly what we've come to expect from Igris, unfortunately. And also, unfortunately, Igris now the record holder for most defenses in a single Apex title reign. He's got 3, including last week's ridiculous defense against Max Ultimate, and on top of that, he is fast approaching Kurt Andrews' career record for most defenses. Andrews has 5 across 3 reigns as Apex champion, and Igris wins here and will be number 4 for him in just 1. Igris won the title back in January. And tell me, stop me if you've heard this one before, he cheated to do it. Eddie Hernandez won the championship. Igris took it from him. Absolutely ridiculous that we are here at this point with the top championship in our sport. Maybe Lee Carr can make it right. Here we go, main event time, and Lee Carr immediately comes firing out. Igris, 1 step ahead of him, and springboards himself into the drop kick, and already the fans not liking what they're seeing as Igris goes in for the leg pick. Igris, is he gonna turn this thing around? No! He's just gonna snap it, and now Igris into that inverted figure for Lee Carr. Nice job to free himself. Obviously, the fans very much behind Lee Carr in this contest. Great arm drag from the man who will captain Team China when China gets their World Cup run started next Wednesday. Will he be doing it as the Apex champion? That's going to be the real question. One of the big snubs, possibly, of the World Cup is that Igris, as of now, will not be representing the United States. We'll see what happens. Teams can change up their roster due to injury or anything like that. Oh, what a left hand uncorked by Carr. And of course, when roster expansion hits, when we get to the semifinals, maybe Igris will be a part of it if the United States does get that far. But probably no surprise that team captain Brian Danielson did not invite Igris to be a part. Igris' father, however, Lancelot, one of the centerpieces of Team USA. I would imagine that Lancelot will get some time when the US opens next week. They will open against Team United Kingdom. We will have a preview of that match, some exclusive news and interviews, both on Friday Night Storm and on the Discord. So make sure you're a part of it. Join with the link in the description, and you'll get all that exclusive World Cup coverage. We'll also have the rest of the schedule for next week coming at you. An incredible opening week for the Wrestling World Cup. Lee Carr will be there. And again, will he be representing Evolution as the Apex champion? We know, oh, Dagonite trying to get involved as Igris was distracting the referee. Lee Carr, that's experienced. Carr able to get back in the ring. Still got caught by Igris, but it's a lot better than being caught on the outside by Dagonite, that's for sure. Igris going in for the combination. Now hoists him up onto the shoulders. Igris, Death Valley driver, and hangs on for the high stack cover. Igris, there's 2. Carr fires out Igris, left 1 leg hanging. Maybe that would have gone differently. We already know that Evolution will be represented on Team Japan. New Raw champion Lars Nightfall will be suiting up for Team Japan, where he trained. Although very interestingly, Lars Nightfall has a documented issue with the Japanese style. So maybe Wade Barrett was onto something when he said he wasn't convinced by Japan's amalgamation of talent. Igris has just taken over here against Lee Carr. Rolls him through into the knee. And a standing shooting star, but Lee Carr somehow saw that coming. As I said, Igris using the second most total offensive moves in all of Evolution last season. And by the way, Igris, the most offensive moves to win a match. This is a man, versatility is king when it comes to Igris. Lee Carr, beautiful job. Twists him over into the neckbreaker, and Igris rolls out of the ring to get near Dagonite, but Lee Carr is not going to let him up. Carr taken to the skies with a flying shoulder tackle to the outside. Dagonite watches on, but the referee keeping a sharp eye on the RD7 enforcer. Lee Carr has come all the way back in this match. And of course, it's the ultimate Cinderella. What else did you expect? The Apex Championship is on the line, and this is what the Team China captain is delivering. What a performance by Lee Carr. Igris able to open up some space. Now here comes the combination. Igris, sharp knee to the jaw as the referee gets to 7 on the count. Igris sends Carr back in. Even Igris not going to tempt fate and try for a cheap count out here. Instead, Igris waiting for Carr to get up. Igris with the Iron Throne, and Lee Carr, a real test to stay in this Apex title match. He cannot. Igris just overpowers the ultimate Cinderella. Carr made a valiant comeback, but it was Igris on the outside. And just like he so often does, right when you feel like you've got him, he had to cheat to beat Max Ultimate, cheat in a major way. And it pains me to say this was a legitimate win over Lee Carr. And Igris has gone over a year without losing a professional wrestling match. Folks, thank you so much for joining us here on Evolution. We are officially in the countdown to the Wrestling World Cup, so make sure you join the Discord. Link is down in the description. All the exclusive coverage you can want, and of course, Friday Night Storm will have even more World Cup coverage. We will see you then. We appreciate you.